Hello everyone and welcome back. If this is the first time you're connecting to this channel, thank you very much and stay tuned for incredible content. And the very simple way to support this channel is subscribe, click the bell and share with your friends. And if this is not your first time coming to this channel and you belong to this category, please subscribe and let's be more friends than before. And now let's begin with the top 10 Asian games that brackets I own or have played. Recently many more Asian games come to North America. They're easy to get. Also, thank you to SN and Kickstarter, you have more opportunities to have a hands on that. But some of them are still very difficult to import. The shipping from Korea, Japan, China is very expensive, despite maybe the game to be quite fairly priced. So here we have it. If you are interested, if you are traveling, take some notes, and when you go to vacation, find a nice store and find for this amazing game. At number 10, we have a game that is actually already in North America, a very popular dexterity game, and this is Tokyo Highway. In Tokyo Highway, players needs to allocate their cards, and how they do that? In doing that, they need to they use a wooden stick which represent highway, and you put these sticks on top of a wooden cylinder or other wooden components, and then when you place that stick, you add one card. Then you can score extra points if the car or the stick goes underneath and the car goes, there are stick crossing, and you can add the multiple cars if that's the case. And obviously the cars are very tiny, the sticks are very narrow. They give you tweezers to allocate the car on top of your stick. How many games do you know that have tweezers? I have only 2 games in my mind, and one of them is the Tokyo Highway. So this is a very simple dexterity game, but yet is very engaging. It's plays very rapidly. When you finish, first of all, you have amazing piece of wooden components at the table that everyone is going to take a picture of, and then you want to do it again. You want to challenge yourself to make complicated highway. You want those sticks to cross so you can place more cars and outbeat your opponent. It's not very punishing, meaning that if if you fall, some pieces fall, or you make opponents pieces fall. When you do it, you put it back and you take a small penalty, which is an extra piece. So it's very nice in that case, and so it's an excellent game. If you can find it, which is not too difficult. Number 10, Tokyo Highway. At number 9, we have a 2-player game from Taiwan, I believe, this company, I think it's from Taiwan, and this is Amanikoji. I hope I pronounced it correctly. This is a tug-of-war style game. What it means is you have several cards in the center which are geisha, or you want to bring your geisha with you. That sounds naughty, but I don't remember the thing. But the idea is you want to conquer, or that sounds also bad. Oh man, you want to have a majority area control on that card, and when you do that, you have tokens that the opponent is allowed to select, or you split the cards. So that kind of you split. I choose a type of field. The opponent chooses what you want to offer, and then you pick, and then the opponent gets the remaining. So you want to also strategize. You want to make too juicy for the opponent, like maybe I'll beat you in some area, or at the same time you don't want to make it too obvious which one you wanted, because maybe you want to take it, he will take it from you. So very interesting, very quick, beautiful artwork. And this is number 9, Amanikoji, which is again, it's a game that you can also relatively easy find here in North America at number 9. Number 8, we have a Japanese game. It's a dice chucking game with some set collection, very easy. You may be familiar with Las Vegas, have the same feeling, and this is Dice Age the Hunt. In this game, you have a pool of dice which represent your hunters, and they have different size. When you do what you do, you roll your dice and you can allocate the same number of dice to one of the location where you have cards that represent the prey that you're hunting, and that goes around until you finish all your dice, or until you allocate all your dice. All the opponents have allocate their dice, and then based on the majority, you will distribute the cards. The dice are broken by the big die, or eventually by the last player allocating the dice. Very simple set collection. You can have cards with big numbers but they don't score much more, or you can have cards that have a small number, but if you have a big set, it gives you even a bigger reward. There are also special powers that you can get when you allocate your dice first or second. There's also that. Very fun game. You also can upgrade your dice pool. You can have more small dice, you can have more bigger dice. Very fun, and this is Dice Age. At number 7, we have a party game in a tiny little box. This is from the Oink game series, and is a fake artist goes in New York. This is this concept. It's a very classic concept where everyone knows something except one person, and in this game you are asked to be an artist. And the way you do, if there's a clue giver or someone decide a word, and he writes that word in all the cards that are gonna distribute to the players except one. And then, so everyone knows that word except one player. And then the players will be asked to draw one line. They can do whatever, as long, as big as the line they want to be. And they draw one line on a piece of paper, and then they pass the paper to the player to the right. And then draw another line on top of what they have received from the player to the left. And that repeats a few more times, and then everyone reveals what you have. So most of the time you have a very wonky picture, very whimsical, and you're trying to figure out who is the imposter, who is the fake artist, who doesn't know the real answer. And so there's kind of a debate. Everyone is trying to justify what they have, but without saying what they draw. Because if the fake artist figure out what the word was, then he wins. And so that's the beauty. You want to give a hint. If you know the word, you want to give a hint to the player that comes after you that you know the word, and then also so you can also add some few small hints. But you don't want to be too obvious, because the fake artist can figure out what it is, can see also what people are drawing, or can declare what's the secret word afterwards. Very fun game. And this is number 7, a fake artist goes in New York. Number 6, we have a beautiful game from Japan, a beautiful family game from Japan. Publisher Uchi Bakoya and Suro Chuo is the designer, and this is Aqua Garden. In Aqua Garden, players are competing to have the best aquarium, and the way you do it, you have a scientist going around the board picking up fishes, and you can pick, you can go as far as you want to pick up the fish that you want, but you're gonna skip all the rest. So, but if you go too conservative, or if you go too slow, you collect all the fish on the way, there's gonna be other players to get the juiciest fish afterwards. And there are locations where you can monetize your aquarium. At the same time, there are some rules where you can allocate the fish, how many fish you can have in a tank. The tokens are beautiful. This is a very simple drafting mechanism combined with this rondel that you can go as far as you want, but you cannot come back. And so there's always this tension. Oh, I want to do so much, but I don't want Samantha to snatch my shark, or oh god, the seahorse is so rare, I really want it, but I don't want to jump a 20 spot ahead, and then I'm gonna wait first of all, and then I get only one fish. So you want the very juicy fish, or you want many small fish, and every fish scores, and then you have also a contract that you can fulfill, a common contract. So there's also the race. Excellent game. Definitely it's a game that works very well with 3 and 4. 2 is a very dull game, I must say. I play many times, I don't enjoy it, so I don't recommend it for 2 people, but for 3 and 4 it's a solid game, and this is Aqua Garden. At number 5, we have another game from Japan, another game that you can find in North America, and this is a trick-taking game, and this is Cat in the Box. This is unbelievably good trick-taking game. I'm a bridge player. I'm a big fan of trick-taking game. I like to think, I try to visualize what the opponent's hands are, and does not allow you to do that because there's no suit. All the cards are black. What you do when you play the card, you assign the suit on the spot. You always have the same rule for many trick-taking games. It's just if a player leads a card with a suit, you need to follow suit. And so every time you have the decision which card you need to play, which suit, if you're gonna follow suit, because if you don't follow suit, then you basically send your hand, you don't have that color anymore. But then you may want it later, so you need to be strategic on that. At the same time, you have a board where everyone put some sort of tokens to indicate which card has been played. So you cannot have 3 cards with the same suit and with the same number. That's not possible. There's 1 card for each suit. And at the same time, you also play those tokens. Try to have some sort of area majority. And to spice everything up, at the beginning of the game, you declare how many tricks you take. And this is incredible. I know it's not a cup of tea for everyone else, and it takes a little bit of time, but when it does, it's just click, and it's so interesting. It's so interesting, very tactical. I really like at the end when, I force the opponents to have a paradox, which means they cannot play anything. They have in the card, maybe they have in the hands 3-4 cards, but whatever value the cards they have, all the other values of the other suits has been played, so they cannot play because it would be a replica, so that would be a paradox. And that is super good. Try to understand based on what people have played, what kind of cards you've seen, or where people are, which direction they're going. I really like force the opponent to a paradox. It's very, very satisfying. This is an excellent trick-taking game. Now there's a huge big box, which is totally unnecessary because it's just a deck of cards, and this is cut in the box. At number 4, we have a game from Taiwan. It's a cooperative game where you need to study the climate, you need to study the climate change and try to slow down the increasing temperature of our beautiful planet. And this is Rescue Polar Bear. What do you mean Rescue Polar Bear? We say talk about climate change and stuff like that. Well, yes, because while you're doing this, you are in the Arctic and you have polar bears. They're dying and sinking under the water because the ice is melting. So you're rescuing polar bear while studying the climate. Very, very modern concept, considering that it's almost a 10 years old game. Beautiful component. These polar bears are super cute. Has a very strong pandemic vibe, but it can also be even more punishing the pandemic. You can be 2-3 rounds into the game and you already know you're gonna lose. If that's the case, just set it up again and restart the game. You have asymmetrical power, so there's lots of cooperation. It's really, really a fun game. Very, very hard, despite the cute look, but this is a highly recommended cooperative game if you like a pandemic style game. You want something a little bit different. This is Rescue Polar Bear at number 4. At number 3, we have another Japanese game, and this is so essentially it's a resource management, deck building, maybe a combo is thing, and negotiation maybe type of game. No, there's not really negotiation, but this is Master of Respect. I like the set collection, I like the resource management, but what I like the most is the interaction that you have with your with the other players. What you do, you are martial art master, and you are teaching, you are training your students to become the best. And when you do that, you do with respect, and they need to bring respect. You assign them some tasks, and those tasks essentially are action to gather sake or add money, learn a new technique, but you cannot do everything with only 3 tasks per round. What is fundamental to play this game is be able to know when to give respect to the opponent, which is basically a victory point, to copy an opponent action. So you substantially take other turns during opponent's turns, a little bit like Puerto Rico. And this is very, very important to the game, otherwise you won't do it well. It's very hard, you're giving up a point to the opponent to do an action that hopefully will get you more points. Then your students slowly throughout the game, they compete in tournaments to give you more points, more rewards, more sake, more coins, get drunk, have fun. This is Master of Respect, a very, very quick game, very, very different from anything I have played, and really I hope you can find it. That was a Kickstarter a long time ago, unfortunately has not been reprinted. It's very hard to come find in North America, but if you have the chance, give it a try. Very, very light, very, very quick, plays only from 3 to 5. Highly recommend the 4 on 5. 3 is a little bit weak, has those kind of games, and this is Master of Respect. And number 2, we have a huge, massive miniature game, and you are Vikings trying to invade the land and conquer and kill all the other clans and be the king of Valhalla. And this is Blood Rage. Yes, Blood Rage is an Asian game because being published by Simon Games, and Simon is a Singaporean company, so we're talking about Asia. Probably is one of the most famous Asian games out there. I don't need to say much. It's one from one of my favorite designers, Eric Wang. This is an area control where you have your faction, you select the, you have rage, which is the currency that allows you to do action, but the juice of the game is the drafting at the beginning. When you draft monsters, you draft weapons, you draft objectives, and so drafting is always so tense because you want everything. Every time you get that hand, you want everything. And you cannot have everything. And so it's, I take this, but my opponent's gonna get that one, it's gonna get stronger. I'm gonna get then that monster for myself, but I'm gonna give him that objective, gives him so many points. An amazing tension that it builds up. Miniature are fantastic. I don't need to say much about this game. Everyone knows if you are in this hobby about this game. It's a massive, big box, and this is number 2. Blood Rage. And number 1, we have a game that I recently played many times. So just as soon as I receive it, although the start was a little bit warm, it's just immediately ramp up to number 1, top 1 Asian game. No, according to me. And this is Ostia, again a game from Uchiba Koya, designer Chuo. Ostia is trading the Mediterranean. Sound very bland. The theme it is, but the game is not. What you do, you have a rondel where in a Mancala style type situation, you select action. What is Mancala? If you don't know, you take the pawn from all the pawns that you have from one sector, and you drop them one by one in a clockwise order around your rondel, and then you activate the spot where you have allocated the final pawn. In addition to that, you get resources from the location that you have picked up the pawn. So you have this very interesting puzzle. You generate resource from where you start, but then you make activate the action from where you land, and you need resources to do an action. And so the resources that you gather, they're not going to help you to activate the action. You need to already have resources for that action. So it's a puzzle of planning multiple turns ahead. And in addition to that, you have a race through the Mediterranean to get many ports, to have area control, to make your board a little bit more asymmetrical, and then claim final scoring points, which are huge. There are many ways to victories. You can go rush towards the end game scoring. You can deploy lots of boats. You can get lots of amphoras or set collection. Really lots of opportunities. Very, very quick. The rules are very, very simple, but that puzzle is so crunchy, so interesting, and it's so satisfying when you have all those combos. There's a fantastic action that is administration that allows you to combo up like 3-4 times if you really set this up properly. This is an amazing game. Number 1, Ostia. And what are your most favorite Asian games? I have so many that I want to try, some others that I recently purchased and are on the way. So maybe this list, or actually for sure this list is gonna change in a couple of months. But please let me know in the comment below which Asian game or from Asian designer or Asian published I should try first. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. You know the drill. This is not your first YouTube video, am I right? Thank you very much and see you next time. Ciao.